The combat sports world is reeling as a true legend hangs up his gloves for good. After a shocking loss to Obafemi at WrestleMania 42, the iconic Brock Lesnar has officially retired from professional wrestling. UFC CEO Dana White has stepped into the spotlight to honor his former heavyweight champion, calling his meteoric rise from MMA novice to global superstar an impossible feat that we will likely never see matched again.
Looking for a fast-charging, ultra-responsive stylus for your iPad? Meet the 2X Fast Charge Active Stylus Pen, designed for 2018 to 2025 Apple iPads. Take your creativity and productivity to the next level. Click the link in the video description to shop now on Amazon.
But not everyone is singing praises for the current state of the UFC leadership. Former star Darren Till is calling out Dana White for being totally checked out and leaning too heavily on lazy, AI-generated promos. Till is demanding more passion and authenticity from the promotion, tired of the ego-driven dismissiveness that has left many fans wondering where the legendary storytelling of the past has actually gone. Meanwhile, the UFC rankings have finally undergone a much-needed house cleaning. Colby Covington has officially been stripped of his spot in the welterweight top 15 after years of prolonged inactivity and frequent criticism. Despite his claim to being America's champion, the promotion is moving on, signaling a new era of accountability for fighters sitting on the sidelines. From the emotional farewell of a generational athlete to heated debates over the future of the fight game, we have all the details you need to stay in the loop. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an update on these evolving stories. We are just getting started, so stay tuned for more high-impact coverage right here. Ever wonder what happens when a physical freak of nature decides to conquer two entirely different worlds at the same time? Well, we just found out. Brock Lesnar, the man they call the Beast, has officially hung up his boots following WrestleMania 42, and the wrestling world is still reeling. After a tough loss to Obafemi, Lesnar left his gear in the center of the ring, a silent, powerful signal that his storied career has reached its final chapter. But the real surprise came when WWE aired a tribute that featured none other than UFC CEO Dana White. Seeing White praise a WWE star felt surreal. But then again, Brock was never just another wrestler. Dana didn't mince words, calling Lesnar's run in the octagon between 2008 and 2011 practically impossible. Think about it. A guy walks into the toughest division on the planet with almost zero experience and grabs the heavyweight crown in just 4 fights. That's not just luck. That's raw, unadulterated dominance. White hit the nail on the head when he said there will never be another athlete who balances those two worlds like Brock did. From that pivotal victory over Randy Couture at UFC 91 to the sheer brutality of his TKO finish over Frank Mir at UFC 100, Lesnar turned his wrestling pedigree into a genuine cheat code. He wasn't just a draw. He was the primary engine behind the UFC's first million-buy pay-per-views. This tribute from Dana proves that beneath the promotional wars and contract headaches, there was always a foundation of deep, mutual respect. Brock Lesnar wasn't just a crossover star. He was the prototype for the modern heavyweight, combining explosive speed with a massive, punishing frame. He leaves the stage as the only man in history to headline a WrestleMania and hold the UFC Heavyweight Championship simultaneously, a record that likely stands forever. So, where does the sport go from here? Does anyone else have the sheer audacity to attempt what he did? Drop a comment below and let me know if you think we'll ever see another athlete replicate Brock's legendary versatility. If you want to keep up with the latest in combat sports, make sure to hit that subscribe button and visit Boxing News.com for your daily fix of fight news. Thanks for watching, and remember, legends don't just win championships, they change the way we look at the sport itself. Ever feel like the soul is slowly being drained out of the sport you love? Well, you aren't alone, and one former UFC standout isn't holding back anymore. Darren the Gorilla Till just dropped a truth bomb on Dana White that has the MMA world buzzing. We are talking about a scathing critique of the UFC's current trajectory, and frankly, it hits where it hurts. Till didn't mince words in a recent sit-down with Ariel Helwani, accusing the UFC boss of being completely checked out and blinded by an ego that's grown too big for the octagon. It's a wild accusation, but when you look at the evidence, you start to wonder if Till has a point. He's calling out the laziness, specifically the shift toward cheap AI-generated promos that lack the cinematic heart of the classics. Think back to the intense, goosebump-inducing trailers for Ronda Rousey or the legendary Jon Jones and Daniel Cormier rivalries. Those weren't just ads, they were masterpieces. Now, we get soulless computer scripts and an attitude from the top that basically translates to, who gives a sh*t? But here's the kicker. We do give a sh*t. As Till pointed out, when you're looking for motivation on a treadmill, you don't turn to a cookie-cutter AI promo. You want that raw, human grit that made MMA a global phenomenon in the first place. The UFC is pulling in record-breaking revenue, yet the production value feels like it's being squeezed dry by the same corporate machine that's currently shaking up the WWE. It's the classic value extraction play, and while the money is stacking up, the product is losing its identity. Till is rightfully frustrated, demanding that Dana drop the ego and actually answer to the fans who built this brand. Is this the turning point where the fans finally demand more than just recycled content? Let me know your take in the comments. Do you think the UFC is losing its spark, or is this just business as usual in the modern fight game? Smash that like button if you missed the golden era of UFC storytelling, and make sure you're subscribed so we can keep tracking the real stories behind the fight business. After all, if we don't hold them accountable, who will? Is the era of rankings favoritism finally over in the UFC? It seems like it, because for the first time since 2017, Colby Covington's name is officially absent from the welterweight top 15. For years, fans and analysts alike have been scratching their heads, wondering why a fighter with such a stagnant activity rate remained a permanent fixture in one of the deepest divisions in the sport. Well, the latest rankings update dropped this Tuesday, and with Covington finally out, we're seeing fresh blood like Mike Malott and Yaroslav Amosov sliding in to fill the void. This move is a long time coming. Even Dana White himself admitted back in January that keeping Covington ranked while he sat on the sidelines was, let's call it, a bit strange. Between 2020 and 2024, Colby fought just once a year, with his last win dating all the way back to 2022 against Jorge Masvidal. When the criticism mounted, Covington did what he does best. He leaned into the persona. He shrugged off the rankings entirely, telling reporters that being the King of Miami and Trump's favorite fighter carried more weight than any digital number beside his name. He even famously claimed that taking him out of the rankings changed nothing because he's still the biggest draw in the division. But rhetoric only goes so far when you're not competing. Covington even missed his big target, a spot on the massive UFC Freedom 250 card. And as of now, his return to the octagon is a total mystery. While he's keeping busy with other ventures like Real American Freestyle, his UFC future is officially in limbo. This feels like a turning point, though. Hopefully, it signals that the promotion is finally tightening the screws on inactivity. It's a necessary evolution to keep the division moving forward. What do you think? Was it high time for the UFC to make this move, or is Colby still a top-tier threat regardless of the list? Drop a comment below with your take, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more fight news. At the end of the day, reputation is great, but in this sport, if you aren't active, you're eventually going to get left behind. What if you could conquer every arena you ever stepped into? We're talking about a man who didn't just play the game, he rewrote the rules. Brock Lesnar, the absolute powerhouse of modern combat, has officially hung up his gloves and boots, and the MMA world is collectively stopping to take notice. After a career that spanned collegiate wrestling, the NFL, pro wrestling, and the absolute pinnacle of the UFC, Lesnar's final bow at WrestleMania 42 wasn't just a match. It was a seismic shift in sports entertainment. When you see a guy like Dana White, a man who doesn't give out praise easily, stepping into a WWE video package to call Lesnar's transition to UFC heavyweight champion impossible, you know you're witnessing history. It's hard to overstate how massive Lesnar's impact was. He brought millions of eyeballs from the wrestling world into the octagon, essentially acting as the bridge for a whole new generation of MMA fans. But it wasn't just the stats that mattered, it was the style. Sports journalist Ariel Helwani hit the nail on the head, noting that the way Lesnar walked away felt raw, human, and refreshingly real. No unnecessary pomp, no fake drama, just a moment of clarity after losing to Obafemi, leaving his gear in the ring, and walking off into the sunset. It drew comparisons to the grit we saw with Gilbert Burns, that quiet realization that the mountain has been climbed and it's finally time to descend. So, what was the secret sauce for someone who successfully lived the lives of 3 different men? Lesnar himself put it best: a simple, unshakable belief that if it can be done, he can do it. That's a lesson for all of us: the power of refusing to be deterred when the path gets tough. If you enjoyed this breakdown of one of the greatest athletes to ever walk the earth, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the legends of combat sports. After all, when you've accomplished everything you set out to do, is there anything left to prove? Or is the greatest victory simply knowing when to walk away?